Hi everybody, my name is Holly from Holly's Backyard Bees and welcome to my dining room. Today we're going to be doing a workshop on how to make your own lip balm, made with some really simple ingredients and of course using some beeswax. So this balm that the recipe that I'm going to give you today is really simple. It only has 4 ingredients plus some essential oils if you want to add those, and really readily available. So in today's workshop, I wanted to spend a little bit of time teaching you about beeswax itself and the amazing properties that beeswax has. So I thought I'll start off by showing you a frame of honey that my bees have made. And I've got my gorgeous daughter helping me film this video. Thank you, Gabby. So you can see bees make beeswax to hold their honey and to hold their brood as well. So this is a beautiful honey frame of capped honey from last season. Actually, it's a bit early to be having honey from this season, but essentially bees have special glands on their stomachs, on their tummy, that develop at a certain stage of their life cycle, and as those wax glands develop, they metabolize honey and secrete these flakes of wax. It's often what it looks like. It looks like little flakes of wax coming off the glands of their tummy. And the worker bees chew it off each other. They can't really reach down and chew it off their own stomach. So the worker bees, they help each other. They chew this wax up. They mix it with their with bits of honey and propolis and their saliva, and form it and mold it into honeycomb. And essentially honeycomb is that hexagonal pattern of wax that the bees build, which, as I said, holds the brood. So it's where the queen bee will lay her eggs and where the brood is raised. It is where they store pollen, which is used to, of course, raise the brood. It's their protein source. And of course, it's where they store their beautiful honey as well. So it is really the structure of their home, and of course having lots of beehives means that you have a byproduct of wax readily available. So if you're a beekeeper, then don't throw your wax out. When you're harvesting your honey, make sure you filter that. It's really simple to do, just to filter it, and it is a beautiful pure product that is just makes amazing balms. You can use it to make your own beeswax wraps, lots and lots of good ways to use beeswax. So if you're not a beekeeper, which is probably a lot of you, there are some really great local places where you can pick up beeswax. I sell it from my shop, which is just an online shop at hollysbackyardbees.com.au. So you can check out and you can buy some, and I post it, or if you're local to me, you can pick it up. I'm in Mount Evelyn in the Yarra Valley, but there's also other businesses that sell it, and often if you can get a hold of a hobbyist beekeeper that'll sort of either do a bit of a trade. I'm really into trading, so if you can trade a little bit of something that you've grown for a little bit of beeswax, then all the more better. Get a hold of some local wax, and I do tell people that all beeswax is not created equal. So if you jump on eBay or you jump online and you find that you can get beeswax for $20 a kilo or less, $15 a kilo, it's probably coming from China or somewhere overseas that often blends it with a paraffin wax, and it's not as pure as Australian wax also, because in Australia we don't treat our hives with a lot of the antibiotics and pesticides that other countries have to use to treat some of the pests that we don't have here. So Australian beeswax is really sought after, and it's worth more because of that. So make sure you do your homework about where you get your wax. Make sure you ask some questions about where it's come from, and go for Australian beeswax every time. So we're going to make a lip balm. Now I'm going to show you the ones that I make and sell. So this is, excuse me. Where'd the lid go? Oh, there it is. So this is the lip balm that we're going to make. And I make it in these little pots. I find it's a really good size. They only hold about, it's about 15 grams, I think. These little pots of for making lip balm. You can buy these online you can buy them, I think I bought these ones on eBay, but there's lots of little places, Etsy shops as well, that you can buy little containers from. But you don't need to buy anything special. You can save up little pots that you've used for other things, like little tiny jam jars, or even silicone molds. You could probably make this and put it into a silicone mold and then pop it in another container. So the 4 ingredients, it's a really simple recipe, and grab out a pen and some paper, because I'm going to give you the recipe, and then you can always adjust the recipe to how you like it. I'm going to tell you why I add each of these different ingredients and the properties that they contribute to the actual finished lip balm. But I'm going to give you the ratio of the recipe I use. So if you've got your pen and your paper, here's the ratio. So it is 1 part beeswax. So I make these little beeswax melts, which you can see. Can you see that clearly, Gab? Yeah. So these are pure beeswax melts that I make. There's nothing else added to them. I sell these for $1.50. They're about 15 grams, and you really don't need much. So I've got my pure beeswax, and it's 1 part beeswax. No, I'll do that last. 1 part of this stuff, which is the cocoa butter. So again, I buy this from a company called Aussie Soap Supplies. So they sell a lot of stuff, obviously for soap making, but they're a really good company. They post it out. I think they're based in Sydney, possibly. I can't remember. But yeah, so they sell it in bulk, but you can buy really small quantities, little pots. I don't have any little pots with me, but like sort of little, it's kind of in a specimen jar from health food shops as well. But it's just a lot more expensive than if you're going to buy it in bulk. So we've got our cocoa butter. We've got our shea butter as well, which again I buy from Aussie Soap Supplies, and it looks like that. Oh. It's just white. Gabby's saying you can't see it. It's just white. So I've got my shea butter, and I've also got coconut oil, and you can buy coconut oil anywhere, any health food shop, even just your regular supermarket, or a lot of bulk supply places have it as well, where you can buy it by the kilo. Okay, so the ratio is 1 part wax to 1 part cocoa butter to 1 part shea butter, and then 2 parts of the coconut oil. And what each of these things do, obviously the beeswax has really good antibacterial and antifungal and antiviral properties to it, which is really good, but it's also our hardening agent. So if we add too much wax, it's going to be a really, really firm lip balm that's not going to sort of melt as easily when we put our finger on it to put it on our lips. So I like that ratio. And then these different oils and butters have a different hardness. So the shea butter is a lot softer and melts a lot easier than the cocoa butter. But both of these are really nourishing skin ingredients as well. So both of these things are will add moisture, and they're just really lovely natural ingredients. You can buy these ingredients organically as well. And then the coconut oil, again, is another really good nourishing skin ingredient, but it's also it's a softer oil than the others. So that's why there's 2 parts of this. Sort of makes it a really nice consistency, which I don't know if you'll be able to see, but you can see the oil on my finger. It's beautiful. And I use, there's a few different things that I use to sort of flavour it. You don't need to add anything more than those 4 ingredients. You can just make it plain like that, and it has a lovely flavour anyway. And all of these things are of course food grade items, which is another reason why you want to try and stick to Australian beeswax, because it's pure. And then the essential oils that I add, so the one that's in this one that I've made here is a peppermint essential oil, and I just like the flavour of peppermint. I feel like it makes my breath smell fresher. So I've got peppermint. Another one that I really like is lime. So I've got a lime essential oil. Any of the citrus essential oils are lovely. Steer clear from anything that is non-essential oil. So don't put like fragrance oils in it, more synthetic oils, but essential oils, and make sure it's something that is food grade, so something that you can ingest. Sometimes we'll put things in our diffusers that are aromatic and have really good medicinal benefits that from an aroma perspective, but they're not to be ingested. So make sure you do your research on your oils. I'm not a naturopath, so I don't have all the answers on what you should and shouldn't, but I know that I really like the flavours and the aroma of peppermint, orange, any kind of citrus, lime, lemon. I like all those. So that's what we're going to make today. So that's a lot of prep. Sorry, that was a lot of talking before we actually get into making it. So number one thing is that these ingredients, and particularly beeswax, is really sticky and gets on your stuff and your clothes if you don't protect it. So I have my really well-loved apron. Of course, it's hexagons that I'm going to put on before I start. And I'm also going to, because I'm just making this on my dining room table, I don't want to get any wax or anything on my timber table. So I'm just going to put down some sheets of newspaper as well. And I've got a workshop room that I have set up where I make all this stuff all the time, but it's not very clean, so I didn't want to do this video in there. It's a giant mess. I know where everything is, but it's very messy, so I thought I'll do it out here. It's a bit nicer of a setting. So now you can make this simply on your stovetop. There's nothing special about what I'm using here. This is just an induction cooker that I have had for a long time, and I take it with me on workshops. And so I'm gonna, well, first actually, before I do any of that, I'm just gonna use my scales. Again, these are my beeswax scales. You can see they're covered in wax. And I've just got a little pot. Now, this, you can clean this, the residue of this ingredients that we're going to put in there can be cleaned off. You just heat it up and you clean it up. So you can use your normal pot, but if you are able to get down to an op shop when they reopen, or if you've got some old pots, just go and get an old pot that can become your beeswax pot or your crafting pot. So I'm going to make, turning on my scales, I'm going to make it with 50 grams of each of the ingredients, and then 100 grams, so 2 parts of my oil. Gab, do you mind getting me a spoon and a knife actually as well? So I've got my scales, and I'm going to weigh out 50 grams, which is, these are about 15 to 17 grams each. So this is 47 grams. 3 melts is all I need to make that up. And then I'm going to go, thank you Gabby, then I'm going to go in with my shea butter, and actually, Gab, do you want to tilt it down so that we can see what we're doing here? Can you see that good? Okay, so this is, as you can see, this is a softer butter. Okay, oh, hang on, I haven't tared the weight. So this is much softer. I can easily slice through that. It's kind of a bit like the consistency of coconut oil, to be honest. It's almost, and your hands get a really nice moisturising while you make this. So that's about right for the shea butter. And next I'm going to go with the cocoa butter. So same thing, 50 grams. You can make this a much smaller quantity too, because this is going to make, I made some the other day with double this amount. That was 100 grams of each thing and then 200 grams of oil. And it made close to 50 lip balms. So of that little pot size. So now this is a lot harder. So you're going to have to see how I stab that and break it. Let's see what this weighs, that big hunk. It's 54 grams. So I'm going to go with that. That's good enough. Close enough is good enough. And the last thing we're going to go in with is our coconut oil. And remember, this is 2 parts of this to 1 part of everything else. Oh gosh, it's been a cold day, so this is really firm. So this is a really great thing that you can be doing now in preparation for Christmas. You can make these as little gifts to give work colleagues or family members, and because they're so small they fit in the post. So if you're not able to see certain people this Christmas or for gifts, you know, they post really well. And I just do this sort of thing all the time. I rub it into my hands, and my hands are lovely at the end of this process. All right, so I've got my ingredients in. Now you don't go ahead, you don't put your essential oils in. I don't want to heat them up. I actually add them to my individual pots before I pour it in. Okay, so let's turn our induction cooker on. Can you see this all right, Gabby? Yep. Alright, so I'm just going to slowly melt that, and as it's melting, of course the different ingredients, this is in my face, okay, turn it a little bit. As that's melting, I'll just talk to you a little bit. So the different ingredients will melt at different rates. Obviously the beeswax and the cocoa butter are the firmest, and they'll take the longest. But you want to heat things at a really gentle rate. Something that's interesting about beeswax is that as it heats up, like a lot of things, it expands, and then as it cools, it shrinks. So when you're pouring it, if you pour it into your pots, this is the same with candle making. So if you pour it into your vessel while it's steaming hot, then as it cools, it will shrink. And with candles, for example, that will often cause a big crevice or a big crater down the middle of your candle as it cools. So we want to heat things really gently, and you can do that in a double boiler if you want to. So you could do the same thing but put it in a double boiler with a Pyrex or something like that. This one's a plastic one, so I wouldn't put that in the heat. But you want to pour it when before it's starting to form like a skin on it, but you don't want it to get too hot. So this induction cooker allows me to heat things at a good speed. So I'm just going to keep letting that melt. Move this out of the way. And while that's melting, I'm going to set up my pots. So I've got my little lip balm pots, and what I often do is I'll actually get a little bit of baking paper, or you can use a silicone baking sheet as well, because what sometimes happens is you might get a little bit of spillage, but it will just set on this, and then you can just either peel it off once it's dry if you get any spills or drips, and it won't soak into the paper, so you're not losing any. So I'm just gonna get these prepared. Now I did a big batch of these the other day and made peppermint ones. So today I'm going to do lime ones today. Alright, that'll do. Enough to do the demonstration here, enough for you to see what's going on. So, I don't know if you can see that there. So that's all melting. You can see the different rates that they're melting. So I'm going to go ahead and put in this is my lime essential oil, and I just bought this one from the health food shop, but you can buy them online. doTERRA do really nice essential oil blends as well, so if you wanted a blended, they do a really nice one called Citrus Bliss, which I really like, but I've run out of that, so this is just a lime one. Okay, so I'm going to put about 2 to 3 drops is all you need into each one. I don't know if you can see that coming out. Okay, so we're getting there. I often just have a toothpick, or this is a skewer, ready, so that as I pour that into here, I give it a quick stir with a toothpick or a skewer. I'm just going to use this knife just to get this melting and combining. Now this recipe can be used for as a cuticle oil. I'm a bit of a nail biter, which is a really bad trait actually, but usually when I'm stressed or nervous or anxious about something, I do bite my nails and I pick at the skin around my nails. It's a really bad habit. I do try and stop doing that, but you can use this as a cuticle oil as well, so it's really good, and I use it as a hand cream as well. So, or if you've got any kind of like a dry patch of skin, you can use it even on your face, because all of these ingredients are really natural skin ingredients. You can use any of these ingredients on their own, and if you look up the ingredients on your organic face creams, they'll probably have some of these things in them as well. So they make really, really nice creams and oils. All right, now it's nearly melted, so I'm going to actually pour it from this, but sometimes if I'm doing a really small quantity, this is the little jug that comes with your iron. When you've got to fill up your iron, and I only use my iron for beeswax wrap making, so I don't ever use my iron and put water in for steam. So I have saved this little thing and I often use it. It's got a really great pouring spout, so I really like to repurpose things where I can. We're nearly done. Okay, that's melted enough. So sometimes I actually turn it off before it's even finished melting to let the residual heat melt it, so it's not going to be steaming when I pour it in. Make sure you never walk away from this stuff on the stove as well. Beeswax is highly flammable. If you're going to be making beeswax candles and you're just using pure beeswax, it's highly, highly flammable. So please be careful when you're using these things as well. All right, so I'm going to pour it in. I'll wait for Gabby to, can you see well there? So I'm just going to do a little bit because I don't have many of these made up. And then I'm just going to fill it up. Whoa, nearly went over. And the smell in here is just beautiful. So I like to fill them quite full because, as I said, they do shrink down as they cool. And because, oh, whoops, that went over the edge. Because I sell these, I sell them on my website. So if you can't be bothered making them, but you really like the look of them, then jump on my website and order some. But you're going to save yourself a lot of money making them. So with, you know, get together with a few friends if you can, to make them, because if you can buy, really loud rain outside. If you can get together with your friends and buy some of these ingredients in bulk, you obviously don't have to, like I bought them by like a whole kilo, but you don't have to buy that much, of course. You can buy, you know, 100 grams, 200 grams, make one batch once a year, and that's enough to give presents to people and to use it yourself. But if you do get together with a few friends, it'll save you all some money. So that's it. How simple is that? So all I'm going to do now is just let that cool, and it will dry solid, like it'll, you know, set solid like that. Oh, I haven't yet, before I let it set though, I'm just going to use my toothpick and just stir that essential oil in, because it's just, I don't want it sitting on the bottom. I want that to go all through. It does kind of infuse through, but I just give it a little stir to help it along. So there you have it. No preservatives, all natural ingredients, organic ingredients, and really lovely products. But please, yeah, jump on and ask me a question. If you didn't get the recipe ratios, I'll give them to you one last time before I finish. So those ratios are 1 part beeswax, 1 part cocoa butter, 1 part of the shea butter, 2 parts of the coconut oil, and whatever essential oils you want to add if you want to add them. Yep, so as I said, I sell this online. If you're local to me in Mount Evelyn, out in the Yarra Valley, feel free to send me an email or jump on my Facebook page. It's Holly's Backyard Bees, and I've got an Instagram page and my website as well. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and yeah, ask me some questions if you've got them. Thanks everybody. Have a good rest of the festival, and thanks for stopping and watching. Bye.